He was shaped by betrayal, hardened by pain, and now he stands out of reach. They tried to break him, but he became something different, something relentless. Look around. Open your eyes. The ones who play clean are the ones bleeding in the dust. The ones who stayed gentle, they're the ones with blades in their backs. The ones who trusted justice, they're the ones watching their enemies climb while they fall apart. The heroes, the good ones, the merciful. Where are they now? Forgotten, buried, wiped away, like they never lived. But the monsters are still standing. The monsters are flourishing. The monsters built kingdoms on the bones of those who underestimated them. Because in the end, the monster always wins. Want to know why? Because monsters don't follow rules made to keep them small. Monsters don't wait for permission. Monsters don't plead for mercy. Monsters don't sit and pray for the universe to be fair. Monsters take. Monsters ruin. Monsters rise when everyone else collapses. And while the world keeps telling you to be good, to be patient, to forgive, the monsters are already far ahead, claiming everything you were too scared to reach for. I wasn't always like this. There was a time I believed those stories too. I believed that if I worked hard enough, stayed loyal enough, loved deeply enough, the world would give me what I earned. I believed in fairness. I believed in people. I believed that good things come to those who wait. I waited.
And you know what came. Betrayal, pain, loss. Everything I built, destroyed by the same people I trusted. Everything I loved, ripped away by those who smiled to my face and planned behind my back. I played by the rules. I stayed kind. I offered mercy when I should have brought war. And what did I get? Crushed, stepped on, left for dead in the dirt, while they laughed and walked away like I was nothing. That's when I understood. That's when I finally saw the truth hiding in plain sight. The world doesn't reward the good. The world devours them. It chews them up, spits them out, and forgets their names before the sun goes down. The good ones, the kind ones, the merciful, they're just fuel for the fire. They're just stepping stones for those willing to do what they refuse to do. So I made a choice. I stopped being the hero in their tale. I stopped playing the role they handed to me. I stopped waiting for justice that was never coming. I stopped believing in mercy that was never given to me. I looked in the mirror and saw the broken, bleeding, shattered version of who I used to be. And I buried him deep. And from that grave, something else rose. Something darker, something colder, something they never expected. I became the monster. Not because I wanted to, not because I woke up one day and chose to abandon everything I once believed. No, they made me this.
Every betrayal, every lie, every knife in my back, every kick when I was down, they were building something, forging something in the fire of my suffering. They were creating their own downfall. They just didn't know it yet. They thought breaking me was the end of the story. They thought leaving me in the dirt was the final page. They celebrated. They moved on. They forgot my name and lived like I never existed. But I was still there, in the shadows, in the dark, growing, changing, becoming something they couldn't understand. The monster they created was learning. Every scar became a lesson. Every wound became wisdom. Every drop of blood I lost taught me what heroes never grasp. Pain is not weakness. Pain is a teacher. Suffering is not a curse. Suffering is a forge. And when you've been through hell, when you've tasted the worst this world can throw at you, you come out the other side changed.
Harder, sharper, colder. You become something that cannot be broken again. Because here's the truth they never want you to learn. Monsters aren't born. Monsters are made. Every monster you've ever feared was once something else. Something softer. Something that believed in goodness. Something that tried to live by the rules. But the world crushed that softness, shattered that belief, burned that hope to ash. And what rose from those ashes was something new, something dangerous, something unstoppable. That's what I am now. I am the result of their cruelty. I am the consequence of their choices. I am the monster they built with their own hands. And now they have to face what they created. They look at me now and they don't recognize me. They see the ice in my eyes. They feel the weight of my presence. They sense something different, something wrong, something that chills their blood. Good. Let them feel it.
Let them taste the fear they forced down my throat for so long. Let them learn what it's like to face something they can't control, can't twist, can't destroy. Because I'm done being destroyed. I'm done being the one who falls. I'm done being the victim in their story. This is my story now. And in my story, the monster wins. In my story, the darkness doesn't fade. In my story, the villain doesn't kneel and beg for mercy. No. In my story, the villain rises. The villain conquers. The villain takes everything and leaves nothing behind but ash and echoes. You want to know what separates monsters from heroes?
Heroes hesitate. Heroes doubt. Heroes question if they're doing the right thing. Heroes carry guilt like chains, dragging them down, slowing them, weakening them, until they collapse under their own conscience.
But monsters don't hesitate. Monsters don't doubt. Monsters move with purpose, with precision, with absolute certainty. Monsters aren't weighed down by guilt because they already paid the price. They already suffered. They already bled enough for 1,000 lifetimes.
I paid my dues. I bled more than they can imagine. I crawled through darkness so thick it would suffocate anyone else. I felt pain that would grind weaker souls into dust. And I am still here, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. Because that's what monsters do. We don't stop. We don't quit. We don't lie down and accept the defeat they wanted for us. They wanted me gone. They wanted me erased. They wanted to write me out like I never mattered. But here's the thing about monsters. You can't erase us. You can't silence us. You can't make us disappear. The harder you try to destroy us, the stronger we become. The more you shove us down, the higher we rise. The more you try to bury us, the deeper we sink our claws into the earth and drag ourselves back to the surface.
I tore my way out of every grave they dug for me. I climbed from every pit they threw me into. I survived every attempt they made to end me. And now, I'm not just surviving. I'm thriving. I'm taking. I'm conquering. I'm becoming everything they were terrified I'd become. They should have finished me when they had the chance. They should have made sure I never stood back up. But they were too arrogant, too confident, too blind to see what they were creating. They thought breaking someone means ending them. They didn't understand. Breaking someone only reveals what they're truly made of. And what I'm made of
isn't flesh and bone.
It's fire and iron. It's darkness and fury. It's everything they gave me, forged into something unbreakable. So let them come. Let them try to stop what's already moving. Let them throw their armies, their plots, their pathetic defenses. It won't matter. Nothing they do matters now. The result was written the moment they chose to make me an enemy. The ending was sealed the moment they picked cruelty over kindness, betrayal over loyalty, war over peace. They wanted war. They got one, but not the war they expected. Not a war they can win, because you can't win against something with nothing left to lose. You can't defeat something that already lost and came back stronger. You can't destroy something built from destruction itself. I am their reckoning. I am the consequence they never considered. I am the storm they thought would pass, the fire they thought would die, the darkness they thought would fade.
But I didn't pass. I didn't die. I didn't fade. I grew. I spread. I consumed everything in my path until nothing was left but me. And now they understand. Now they see. Now they feel what I felt years ago when I was on my knees, begging for mercy that never came. Now they're the ones looking up at me, realizing they were never in control. They were never the hunters. They were always the prey. They just didn't know it.
In the end, the monster always wins. Not because monsters are stronger, not because monsters are smarter, but because monsters are willing to do what others won't. Monsters don't flinch when the moment arrives. Monsters don't stall when the chance appears. Monsters don't waste time on guilt, regret, or doubt.
Monsters act. Monsters take. Monsters finish what others are too weak to begin. That's the difference. That's why I'm standing and they're falling. That's why I'm rising and they're crumbling. I stopped caring about being good. I stopped caring about being fair. I stopped caring what they think of me. I care about one thing now: winning. And I will win. I always do. They can call me whatever they want. Monster, beast, villain, demon.
I've heard it all. I wear every label they throw at me like armor. Their words don't cut me anymore. Their opinions don't matter. Their judgment means nothing to someone who has already judged himself
and accepted what he has become. I am the monster, and I'm not ashamed. I'm proud, because being a monster means I survived. Being a monster means I overcame. Being a monster means I took everything they tried to drown me with and turned it into power. Being a monster means I will never be broken again. So let them tell their stories. Let them paint me as the villain. Let them warn others what happens when you push someone too far.
Let my name be whispered in fear, in awe, in disbelief. Let them remember me as the one who wouldn't stay down, the one who couldn't be erased, the one who crawled back from the abyss and dragged them toward it. Because in the end, the monster always wins. The heroes fall, the good collapse, the merciful are forgotten. But the monsters remain. The monsters rise. The monsters take what's theirs and burn everything else to the ground. I am the monster they made. I am the darkness they fed. I am the nightmare they created with their own cruelty.
And now they live with it. Now they face the consequence of every choice that led them here. Now they see what happens when you push someone past the edge. There is no return for me. The man I used to be is gone, buried beneath years of suffering and betrayal. What stands now is something else entirely. Colder, harder, something that doesn't feel mercy, because mercy was never shown to me. Something that doesn't offer forgiveness, because forgiveness is a weakness I can't afford anymore. They wanted a monster. They got one. And this monster doesn't lose. This monster doesn't fall. This monster doesn't stop until everything they built turns to rubble and ash. In the end, the monster always wins. And I am that monster.
Watch me prove it.